What's going on? We're back in Dokkan. About to take on virtual Dokkan Battlefield. I skipped ahead of Master Roshi, Android 19, and your boy Great Saiyan just because I feel like they're so easy. I don't give a fuck. The only reason I'm even including Nova Shenron, this guy's pretty easy to beat, but my Super Tech team raped him so hard. I wanted to put this in a video just so I could go back and jerk off to it later. But yes, the new super duper virtual Dokkan Battlefield Omega Shenron event is here. And let me just say, I'm happy with the lineup. I actually was able to defeat every single one of these pieces of shits first try. Mostly because of the fact I have good units for the bosses. And the reason why I was able to do a first try is because your boy was on a bus. Your boy was homebound. Your boy had a lot of time to think. So I ended up actually, thinking about what the bosses were and in what order, and I actually made teams, and they ended up working out the way I was expecting it to. And Megamind shit, bro. I'm talking about real genius shit out here. You know what I mean? It's hard to be me. But I just got back home. I've been gone for 3 long days. I've been gone since Monday morning. I got home today at like 7. Wednesday, if I upload this today, Wednesday. Went out to the big city. I went out, I had a good time, went to a conference, learned a lot of shit. My brain got a lot bigger. My head is about 20% larger than it was before. And it was pretty cool. I actually went to a technology conference. It was the first conference I've ever gone to. Pretty good. I was surprised, honestly, because in all fairness, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was going to be really corny. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. Fucking critical. I did not know what to expect. And, like, in my head, I was like, oh, man. I guess this is going to be, like, just a fucking presentation. Or just some bullshit. Which, both of those things aren't terrible. You know what I mean? But I actually liked it a lot. I liked this conference a lot because it had a lot of real-world people. They were just regular people, like you and me. They were a little bit older. They were a little bit more experienced. But they were actually working on problems, and they were actually giving you insight. It was really valuable, especially for things that, even things that I didn't really relate to. Like one conference was some dude from Google who did machine learning in terms of database speeding up. So, like, instead of just using a hash function, instead of just using a Bloom filter, he would use a machine learned algorithm in front of those things and then use them as a backup if for some reason a failure would occur. And it basically just optimized the process, and this is something that Google's probably going to move forward with and is going to make things a lot better by, adding a little bit of machine learning to the mix as opposed to just doing things, per usual. And this wasn't something I could entirely relate to because I haven't done a whole lot of machine learning at my job. And what little I've done at home has been, like, very light, I could watch a YouTube video here, read an article there. But it was still interesting. But, dude, for me, the most, like, amazing conference talk was some guy. He was from some company, I think Meetup is called. He was talking about how they were transitioning from an older system to a newer one using serverless. And serverless is kind of like this new thing in computer science industry. It's not really that new, and it's not really that crazy. It just sounds really cool to say serverless because the idea is that you're using items that are not on a server. You don't have to maintain the server, and this is in the form of, this is actually another talk they had from Symphony, where it's basically something like with AWS products, a Lambda is not on a server. It's a function that executes. Kinesis is a stream that's not on a server. It just pushes data to where you want to push it to. So it's kind of stuff like that, and he was talking about his journey from that model to the new model of basically having a serverless architecture. And it was really interesting because, dude, I swear to God, like, as he was talking about all the bullshit he ran into, all the problems he ran into, I was like, yo, is this guy me? Like, I started squinting. I go, is there a mirror up on stage? That sounds a lot like me. Because the same thing happened to us on our project. Dude, even simple things like, a Lambda, for example, he's like, yeah, we originally had a Lambda to do this, that, and the third. Then we had to move it to here, then we had to move it to there because we found out that Java Lambdas are fucking pieces of shit if you wanted to start up in a fast way because they have, like, some startup time, Java, in terms of the Lambda. So say if you were writing let's just say you're writing a website and you use a Lambda for a user request and you want it to be fast as possible, you would not use Java, because if you use Java, you'd be fucked. By the way, shout out to Super Vegeta. This guy really came in clutch. I actually thought I took a chance there because I was like, oh shit, I could die, but your boy Vegeta pulled through. So, like I was saying, if you use Java, it's just slower and it's a piece of shit. But that's something that I guess AWS does tell you, but it's just one of those things like working with AWS, you don't really know. Like, you have to become familiar with it. It's kind of like any software you use. Like, say you use Photoshop. Photoshop isn't the hardest thing to use, but you got to know how to fucking use it. You got to know all the pitfalls. And you got to be good with it. I'm trying to make it a relatable example. Honestly, I don't know what to say that may be relatable for people that don't fuck around with computer science stuff. But so he mentioned that, and he's like, oh, so we went from Java to Node. That's literally exactly what we did. Like, we did a Java Lambda. Oh, wow, this thing's a piece of shit. Research a little more. Oh, fuck, it needs to be a Node, so we made it a Node. And then another thing he said, that, dude, when he said this, I felt this, like, in my heart. He's like, a lot of the things that we didn't expect is that because we were moving from an older model to a newer model, whenever we made a bug fix in the older model or somewhere along during the new model while processing, that meant we had to now reprocess data, which was annoying because we had to do it multiple times. When he said that, I wanted to get up and be like, bro, you don't know how annoying that has been for us. Like, because basically, think about it like this. It's like, imagine you're trying to transfer water from one pool to another pool, and in the process of fucking transferring it from one pool to another pool, you find out you have mosquitoes in one pool, and you're like, fuck, did we get rid of these mosquitoes in the new pool? Only one way to find out. Fucking send that shit back, clean it again. And it's just so time consuming, it's so annoying, and it's just been one of those things where it kind of really pays off if you measure twice and then measure again and then measure again. Because, like, any small caveat, especially for us, we did a fucking large transfer from our original database to a new database, which was Dynamo. And then from that Dynamo database, we also did another transfer to Aurora Postgres because we found out Dynamo was just too slow. So in the process of doing this, there's always room for error, and it's so fucking annoying. And that's one thing that really is just so time consuming. I'd say for my day to day, in terms of time consumption, the most time consuming thing is infrastructure changes. So, like, for example, we make a change to a database. We didn't change any of our products, we didn't change any of our software, but we added some new permission. You just cannot push that to production and be like, yeah, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, you have to test that shit out. Not locally, but in our test account. So that's another thing that people talked about, is that when you use AWS, it's not like you're on the computer. It's not like you're writing Hello World on your computer. You need to go to AWS and make sure that Hello World prints, you know what I mean? You basically have to do that second guess and make sure that everything works in AWS, which again is time consuming. But their API is pretty good. If you ever fuck around with their Java API, they make it pretty easy to do stuff without having to be, manual bullshit. But yeah, that's the day-to-day for me. Like, it's so time-consuming. You make one change here, one change there, one change there. Did it affect anything over here? Did it affect everything over there? Let's go test it again, test it again. Oh, someone made a change. Let me test it again. That's why, dude, what I started doing, me and my boy, one of the dudes on my team, we started pushing these, because I've had these tests in a repo, in a project. It's just a project. Like, I just go in there, regular Java project, I run it. Hey, does this work? It works. But now this shit is scaling so fucking much, and it is so fucking time consuming that I have to just set it up to do it automatically. We have servers with Jenkins where you could basically, have whatever Java program you want, have it run once a night, which is what we're doing. So far we have 2 projects or 3 projects out of like 12, and I'm hoping I can get all that shit in there. And then if we ever need to run anything, you just run it from that environment on the fly, or, just let that shit run daily. Because, dude, it is so... just to make a comparison, this is like in high school or in college when you have an essay due, and you make one change to the essay, and it's fucking midnight coming up. You're like, you make one change, you save it, and you're like, oh, fuck, is this the right version? You got to go look at it. Oh, shit, it is. Submit it. Oh, did I submit the right one? Submit it again. You know what I mean? And that's even truer in college with, computer science fucking assignments where you're like, oh my god, all right, this is the final version. Is this the final version? Let me download it, make sure it's all right. So it's just all that verification. And like, especially now, because at my job, we're trying to, have more responsibility in terms of what is in production and what we push out. So the less problems we have, the better. And really, like, this is a point that a lot of people made that I agree with, is that if you have shit in AWS, there is less room for error because AWS is the ones taking care of your server, and you have less overhead and less bullshit. And that's one of the reasons why we went with AWS and used, for example, Kinesis instead of Kafka. Kinesis is like a streaming service that AWS offers, and Kafka is a streaming service that I don't know who the fuck offers. I guess Apache, I don't know. But with Kafka, you have to, manage it yourself, make sure you actually know what you're doing. And Kinesis, dude, like, you could be brain dead. AWS is a free tier. Go make an AWS account, make some dumb shit, put in fucking a Lambda in Kinesis, and sit there and go, my God, this is magic. This is absolute magic. This is why another one of the reasons, like last year, Amazon for the first time broke their revenue deficit where they actually made a profit. And a large part of that, I know a lot of people were joking. They're like, Twitch and fucking Ninja made them that money. Which, low-key, Twitch made some money. But AWS services, Amazon Web Services, is fucking god tier, dude. Even when I was in college using that shit, like, the fact that they give you free shit and let you fuck around and try stuff out. I mean, granted, you gotta be careful because I started off with free shit and then I forgot to turn something off for like 2 weeks and then I ended up getting like a $9 bill. Which isn't terrible. It's $9. Who gives a shit? But it is just so fucking good, dude. And Azure by Microsoft is the thing that they offer. Cloud hosting or cloud something by Google is what they offer. But AWS is fucking leaps and bounds above them. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years Jeff Bezos just takes over every company and I become an employee at Amazon. I welcome that day. I have no problem with it, Mr. Bezos. God damn, bro. This fucking LR sells God tier. This, by the way... This Extreme Fi team is the only team I've ever been able to destroy hit the first time around. Like, the first team only. Granted, I got a little lucky. He only supered me once, but still, Extreme Fi is fucking ridiculous. And by the way, I'm thinking of making a video with Extreme Fi, Majin Vegeta, because as you saw there, I brought as a fucking, like, as a placeholder, Raccoon, which he's alright. But Extreme Fi Majin Vegeta is even better because every time he attacks, he gets a plus 30% to defense. So he's a really viable option, honestly, and he's fucking really good. No, it sucks that he doesn't have Fierce Battle, but he's still really good, dude. Like, if you have a placeholder Extreme Fi, or, you don't have, like, an amazing person, because you can get him Rainbow, too. That's another thing. Even though it's not the, quote-unquote most optimal unit, the fact that you can Rainbow that shit makes it god tier. So I'm looking forward to getting Majin Vegeta. But, yeah, like I said, very time-consuming individual I am, very busy man I am. But, yeah, I went to the city, went to a conference for 3 days, stayed in a hotel. It was pretty nice. I fucking walked around a lot, which made me fucking ready to slump. Actually, yesterday, I went to some restaurant. It was like a Japanese fucking all-you-can-eat restaurant. It was pretty good. The food was pretty good. But I ate, right? And you go to all-you-can-eat buffet, you know what you do. You try and eat as much as possible. So I ate 2 plates. And actually, I had room for one more. You know what I mean? I'm a 3-plate type of guy. If I go in there, we put in work, all right? As a matter of fact, let me just get off this topic for a second and go down a completely separate street. One of my favorite memories from when I was younger is that me and 2 of my friends went to a buffet at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and didn't leave until like 6 p.m. We stayed there for 5 hours, dude. And we were just fucking hogs, just fat fucking animals. Because we went there, right, at 1, and we're like, our intention was to basically, eat a lot, hang out. So we ended up going, and we ate like fucking pigs, dude. Like, I remember, like, we went there, it was just like the trifecta. Me and fucking 2 other dudes. We were like 13 or 14. We ate a good amount, probably 3 plates each. And then we just, we talked a little bit, ate a little more. And, dude, I remember that the craziest thing that happened is that we all eventually, like, after 2 hours, we ended up going to the bathroom, had a little more room. And we're like, you know what? It's time for second. So we ended up going back to the table, talking a little more, eating a little more. And I remember the fucking server came over, like, twice, and she's like, she's like, she gave us like, thank you, have a good day, basically saying, get the fuck out of here. And I remember my friends like, she's like, this bitch is not gonna get my fucking black ass out of here. I'm staying here. I'm eating. I'm like, So that just reminded me of that day. We were pieces of shit, low key. I mean, we tipped all right, but fuck, man, I don't know. I think you got to tip mighty heavy when you're fucking sitting there for 5 hours, which we were kids, so low key we probably tipped like fucking $4. But anyway, as that being said, yesterday I went to that buffet, 2 plates, and then I purposely stopped myself before hitting that precipice of holy shit, I'm gonna have a heart attack, because I'm in the city, I'm walking around, and I fucking just walked 20 fucking blocks, and these are fucking New York blocks, like these are some crazy fucking blocks. So I fucking, after I ate, I walked back to my hotel, and it was so fucking hot, it was so fucking humid. As I'm walking back, I just see random Mexicans in fucking Pikachu suits, and I'm like, oh my god, these guys. And I actually got schemed low-key. Well, you know what? I low-key got schemed, but I don't mind. Like, as I'm walking back, some dude, he's like, yo, this is the thing with New York. There's a lot of people who try to scheme you and sell you shit. And if I'm in a good mood, I got energy, I'm like, yeah, fair enough, I'll fucking bullshit with you, whatever. But this dude's like, yo, yo, yo. Like, I made eye contact, I'm like, uh-oh. Like, my energy was low. He's like, yo, yo. Gave me a mixtape. He's like, yo, check out my mixtape, bro. Blah, 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 blah. Your boy, Sears Jones. I'm like, what the fuck, Sears Jones? I never heard of you. He's like, yo, man, I got fire as shit, bro. Check it out. And he's like, yo, let me get $5. This is the biggest scheme. I should have been fucking alert and remembered this. But, like, people, like, this happens to me a lot when I used to go to university where I went, because there's a shit ton of fucking, like, young black kids, or, like, even, like, once or twice, like, 90% were, like, black kids who wanted to fucking sell you their mixtape, or if some Spanish dude. Dude, there was one Spanish guy, and I remember I saw him one time, and the police told him to leave, like, on campus, because technically you can't solicit, like, you can't ask people to buy shit on campus. And I remember, like, he was one of the few people they made leave. There's two groups of people I remember Campus PD, like, made them leave. It was that Spanish guy and fucking 2 black kids who were just selling Skittles. I felt bad for them. They were really young, like, they were, like, 13, 14, like, they were pretty fucking young. And they were just selling Skittles. It was probably for some dumb shit, like, for some selfish shit, but who cares? They're fucking kids, you know what I mean? But the police came, they fucking had them spread their legs, check their Skittles. I'm like, come on, dude, fucking really? Like, what the fuck? They're selling Skittles. So anyway, my point being, I'm used to motherfuckers giving me their mixtape. But my go-to line is, oh, my bad, I ain't got cash. And I'm like, all right, fuck you then, and then whatever. So I'm like, nah, man, I got cash, blah, blah. And he's like, yo, man, you got a Venmo? And, like, without thinking, I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I bet, what's your Venmo? And then I told him my Venmo. And he, like, looked me up and he found me. He's like, I bet, I requested $5. I'm like, fuck. And I told him, I'm like, yo, listen. If you can tell me what my profile picture is, I'll give you $5 or $10, something like that. Because I was, like, getting drained, so I want to drain him. And he's like, I bet, I got you. And he looked at my profile picture, and he saw it. And as my profile picture, I have fucking Johnny Sins. If you don't know who Johnny Sins is, go fuck yourself. So then he looked at it, and he's like, who the fuck is that? And I'm like, yo, come on, bro. You know who that guy is. You know who that is. He's like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, dude, you don't know who that is? He's like, I'll tell you right now. I bet you no one, he said, I bet you $100 no one here knows who that is. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to bet you $100, but people know who Johnny Sins is. So he starts going around, he's showing people my phone with Johnny Sins. And then he's like, yo, you know who the fuck this is? And then some guy's like, he's looking, he's like, I don't know, man. And he was wearing a police uniform, Johnny Sins. He's like, I don't know, some fucking bald cop motherfucker. And he's like, see, man, I told you, ain't no one know who the fuck that is. And I'm like, oh, man, what the fuck? I'm like, how do you not know who that is? So I just bullshitted with him a little bit. Gave him the $5 on Venmo, and I was like, fuck it, I peaced out. So I walked all that time, I was fucking exhausted, had food in my stomach, but at least I got a mixtape out of it. Now I got fucking Serious Jones. And I actually looked up a fucking freestyle he did. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't worth $5, but it wasn't too bad. But with that being said, that is Super Duper Omega Virtual Battlefield Omega Shenron event, Dokkan Battle Royale, Hunger Games Trivial 2. That is about it. I will more than likely try to farm up that Majin Vegeta. I do have some gems, so maybe I could even get him straight off the bat, 5 of them. And I want to see how good he is on Extreme Fight, because right now I'm using Raccoon as a placeholder. So, that's pretty much it, and enjoy your day. And remember, if a motherfucker comes up to you asking to buy their mixtape, best thing to do is say no hablo inglés.